Hi, and welcome to Adobe Photoshop Beginner to Pro. In this first module, we're going to be going over some of the basics when it comes to getting started in Photoshop. Once you boot up Photoshop for the first time, you'll see a screen very similar to this one, and this is called the home screen, indicated by this little icon over here on the left side. And below the home screen, you'll see that you have a few other options here like Learn, where you can watch other types of tutorials to get up to speed with Photoshop. You'll see that you also have a section for files. This is your files, files that are shared with you, Lightroom photos, or recently deleted files. And at the very top, you have New File to create a new file, and you have Open to open an existing file. Now, if I click on Home here, you'll see that I've got a whole bunch of projects here on the bottom. So if you don't have a lot of projects, that's okay. It's probably not going to look exactly like mine. But all this is showing your recent projects that you've been working on, and you can choose to sort them either by recent, by their name, the size, the type, and so forth. You also have the ability to change the way that these recent projects appear. Right now I am in grid mode, but I can also click this icon here to change it to a list. At the very top here, we have something called suggestions, which you can either show or hide. Here you have a shortcut basically that will take you to a section where you can learn more about Photoshop. And you also have a section here called Try It Now, where there's maybe a specific tool or feature that is being featured that you can try and learn more about. And this will give you some more information about those tools. To get started, let's click on the New File icon up here in the upper left corner. And after clicking on that, you'll see that you now have something called the New Document panel. So this is where you have a bunch of different categories here, like recently saved projects. You have photo, print, art and illustration, web, mobile, and a section for film and video. You'll notice that you have a bunch of preset sizes here for different types of documents. You may be familiar with some of these like tabloid, legal, or letter, and you can also click View All Presets here to expand this and view even more presets. You'll notice that a lot of these are currently set in either millimeters or inches. They also have some different templates for each of these categories below. And these are just different templates that you can load up in Photoshop to begin with. And each of these categories has those. So if I look at web, for example, you'll see that again, we have some different blank presets here. We can click View All Presets to see even more. And we'll notice that most of these are in pixels. And below that, we have our templates for this section. So these are the templates for all of our web type documents. And let's go to Art and Illustration just to really hit this home so that you can see some of these examples here. But what I'd like to do is set up a new web or digital document. So over here on the right-hand side, on the far right of this panel, you'll see we have some preset details where we can enter names for our projects. So I'll come up here and enter a name like digital underscore file underscore test. And I'm going to manually type in one of the more popular sizes or dimensions that you'll see over here, which is 1920 by 1080. So I'll enter 1920 for the width, 1080 for the height. And directly to the right of that, you'll see that we are working in pixels, but you could also choose to work in one of these other metrics. Below that, you have the orientation, and if I click to make it a portrait instead of a landscape, you'll notice that it's just swapping the dimensions we have here. I'll go ahead and leave artboards checked off, but that is something we can take a look at later. Here you have your resolution. 72 is sort of the low res standard screen resolution. I like to work in high res here. Below that, we have color mode, and anytime that you're working in web or digital, it's going to be RGB. 8-bit is fine for the bit depth. And then for the background contents, you can click on this drop down and choose from white, black, background color, transparent, or custom. So let's go ahead and click on custom and then maybe enter like a dark, desaturated sort of bluish color like that. And you'll see that we have now created our first document. And if I click on this tab in the upper right, I can pull it down and float this little panel around here. And at the very top, it will show you the name of your file, the percentage that you're viewing this at. So this is at 100% of the size. And then we can also see that we're working in RGB with a bit depth of 8. So that's what this information means along the top here in your new document.